Dumelang, Sanwanani, and a very good morning, afternoon, and evening to each and every one of you beautiful people out there. Welcome back to the Dumo Show, where we talk all things motivation, education, and of course, entertainment. It is the month of March, which is Business and Entrepreneurship March. And I do have a guest, as I did promise, with me here today. He is a poet, an engineer, a software developer, and of course, the reason why we're here today, an entrepreneur. Mpilo Ngcoya, welcome to the show.
Hello, Dumo. Hello, everyone else. Thank you very much for having me on the Dumo show. It is a great pleasure of mine to be here.
Thank you so much, sir. Super excited about this interview. Right. Um, how are you, first of all?
Oh wow, all good. I'm jubilant, euphoric, exuberant.
Mm.
All those big English words.
Yeah. You're swearing me now. I don't know what you're saying to me. You're swearing. Right. Anyway, great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming in. We do know that, of course, you are very busy. You do have a lot on your plate usually, but thank you for making the time. And as I did mention, the topic for this month is business and entrepreneurship. So, in this episode, we talk about exactly that. And in the following episode, we will be talking about balancing work, school, and business all in one. Right. Without further ado, let's talk about you, first of all, before we get into the business side of things. Tell us a little about yourself.
So I am an entrepreneur, student entrepreneur, studying a engineering degree
Mm.
in mechatronics engineering at the University of Cape Town. A little fun fact, I only decided to study mechatronics engineer in matric. Before then, I
Mm.
wanted to do computer engineering. That was grade 11, and then before then, I wanted to do computer science. That was in grade 10. Yeah. So actually, how that even came about is I wanted to go do IT at school,
Mm.
and at the time there was only one IT teacher and only two IT students. It wasn't really offered as a mainstream subject
Mm.
within our
Mm.
school. So the teacher was like, "It's too late into the year. I can't do it. You know what not." And then during the holidays, I decided, you know what, it's fine. I'm gonna go teach myself that whole entire year syllabus and go prove
Mm.
to him that I can actually do it.
No.
So I do it, and then I come back beginning of grade 11, and I tell him, "Yo, I did it," and he's like, "No, we actually don't even learn Scratch. We learn they use Delphi."
Mm.
So and then I was just like shattered, and then he even left that year, and there was no IT teacher, so the IT
Sure.
students had to go find work well teachers outside.
Yeah.
So then that's when I actually started teaching myself proper coding. I
Mm.
started off with C sharp and started just making mobile app dev and just didn't go far. But then I revamped doing web design and stuff when I got to varsity during lockdown in
Yeah.
2020, and I've just kind of been stuck in software dev ever since.
Mm. Nice. You mentioned lockdown a little bit there. Of course, I do know myself. I learned a lot during lockdown. Poetry being one of the things that I started the journey that I started during lockdown. I think as bad as the situation was in the world, caused um, by we know what, the lockdown side of things, I think that had some pretty good effects. There's a couple of things that advanced, some things that were introduced um, within the educational space, within societal spaces, thanks to lockdown, right? But anyway, let me not sidetrack too much. What drives you? Tell us a little bit about what actually gets you out of bed so that you can say, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I'm referring, of course, to software development there.
So the main thing that's a driving factor within my life is I want to make sure that I give, my future offsprings everything.
Mm.
What you tend to find is, well, there's three, main types of families, and what I've realized is the families that live in the middle class, they tend to be the better off.
Okay.
Because in the poor class, as much as, the parents are more involved in their children's lives, however, they never really have the funds to be able to fund them in terms of what their well wants, and some of the
Mm.
things such as basic as maybe getting them into a soccer club, something like that.
Yeah.
And then in the affluent class, the parents, they normally usually busy, so busy that they neglect their children on a very basic level,
Mm.
whereby they don't even know their friends. And then, well, on the middle class, it's kind of just in between the two.
Yeah.
They can afford but enough, but at the same time they're also present just enough within
Mm.
the lives of their children. Whereas I wanted to make sure that I am as present as much as I possibly can,
Mm.
at the same time still being able to provide all of it. I don't
Yeah.
want them to ever be like they were missing out on this because their father had no money,
Mm.
or their father was always working.
Yeah.
So it's the driving thing is just that get as much money as soon as possible, retire, and just be with my family.
Mm. It sounds like we have the exact same life plan there. Make money now, party later, Michael B.
Exactly.
Jordan actually said something similar to that. But anyway, yes, even now that you mentioned the thing of the classes, there's actually something that I learned back when I was in high school, is that a lot of the time you find that, now I don't want things to get a bit controversial here or anything, but a lot of the time what I found was those who are highly intelligent, right? The A students, they flying. What I found is you get out of school and they somewhat employed by majority of the time people who were, should I say, in the lower ranges grade wise, academically speaking. And then you find that a lot of the people in the middle of things, those between, maybe 40s to 70%, those people, a lot of the time, they had a lot of time on their hands because, myself included, 9 times out of 10, you find that a person is not too focused on their academics, that they actually have time to do other things outside of school as well as extracurriculum. Um, what I found is a lot of those people are actually creatives a lot of the time, which is the reason why they end up being, you know, almost aside from other people,
Mm,
so to speak,
mm,
in terms of myself in, as an example. I'm not taking a regular route.
mm,
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. Although I did want to be a lawyer. Both of those things actually at one point in time. Academics were kind of the reason why I ended up not being. Um, but yeah, a lot of the time you find that those people who are in that middle section, they kind of have the sweet spot
mm.
that allows them to actually do certain things that are outside the ordinary.
That's true.
Yeah. So back to business. So tell us a little bit about your software development, if you may. You do, of course, have a business as the which is the reason why we're having this chat right now. You do have a business. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
So I do have the first one is it's called Ngcoya Industries.
Mm.
Registered it in 2020 during lockdown. Like I said, I got into it software dev. I make websites as well as mobile applications.
Mm.
It also extends beyond that, but that's like the main thing I highlight. So if you need anything such as graphic design,
Mm.
as well as logos, I can do all of that. So that's not where my heart is at,
Mm.
because my heart is just within coding.
Yeah.
As much as that is just a simple job, it can always be done very easily. I can do that for people, but I just love to code.
Mm.
It's if I can actually get distracted and forget things, important things, when once I start coding. That's just the love that I have for it.
Mm.
But that was the first and the beginning. And then in 2022, towards the end of the year, I actually started in November 15.
Mm.
So uh, that's when I started actually coding out the second business of mine. And it actually started through a conversation that I was having with my father, whereby we were just talking about how, the billionaires got to be where they were.
Mm.
And one of them in particular, Jack Ma, who basically went to another place in America and then came back to China, and he was like, I need to have this, right?
Mm.
And then an idea basically of one of my cargo pants that I bought from Cotton On. They
Okay.
had just died out after one wash because of that fast fashion thing. So and then I started looking for people with tie dye business, to basically dye back the black, and I couldn't find anyone who was offering that service. Even if I could find people with a tie dye business, they didn't offer such a service. So I was like, it would be so much better if we had a singular platform whereby you could find every single product and every single service that you need. So and then that's when I started creating markets. Um, so if you go to marketspace.tech and you just go search, for any product or service, you're likely to find it. It's just that we're still trying to get it throughout the whole of South Africa. So the main cities that we're in is Cape Town. That's the main that we're focusing on,
The
and
motherland.
then there is a bit in Durban and then a bit in Johannesburg. But we do plan over time to expand to get to the whole of South Africa, and with the growth of the business, so what has happened is we wanted to introduce a platform well inside market. So now for people who sell products, we want them people to be able to buy the products directly on our platform instead of now having to go from our platform, go to the business's websites and
Yeah.
stuff like that. As well as also you just have a place where you can get all the your products almost like take a lot, but at the same time also get all your services. So be able to book appointments with doctors directly there, see their schedule, see when they're free. Not just that, if you have a toilet that's broken, and then you go look for a plumber, and then obviously they work based off of quotes. So then you see all the plumbers nearby, and then they tell you this is the information that we need for us to be able to give you a quote, and then you give each and every single one, and then you find the best one that suits you, whether it's price wise, whether it's who's closer, or their ratings, and whatever that fits your needs, because it's all
Yeah.
about fitting the customer's needs. And as I've said, that because of the products, we needing them to be delivered and stuff, that has introduced the third business now, which is it's called Cheetah Express, and that
Okay.
is going to be a delivery business. And as again, it is only starting in Cape Town, but it's going to be delivering products from business to their customers. So if a certain business needs a package or parcel delivered to a customer, and then they can make an order, and then one of our drivers comes, they pick it up, and then they go deliver the order for them.
Nice, nice, nice. Now that you mentioned Cheetah, I think that's what you were telling me about some time ago at the beginning of the year.
Mm.
But there's actually this logo that I saw. I believe I think it was yours.
Yes.
I think it was yours. Beautiful, beautiful. The cheetah. the So what does entrepreneurship mean to you?
For me, entrepreneurship, it's I feel like many people, they, and I always say this, so some people might feel like I'm bashing them for this, but I always feel that entrepreneurship is just different from running or managing a business. For me, entrepreneurship is more of solving an issue,
Yeah.
recognizing there is an issue someplace in a certain market, and then going into that market and solving that particular issue. So I would not recognize, as much as I want to recognize multiple industries
Yeah.
as an entrepreneurship thing, because when I went into it with the mindset that many small businesses don't have websites, and that was my target market, the small businesses charging at a very small price. However, there are already other platforms that exist whereby people can create websites for free, even
Yeah.
if they're not as effective. But the what you call it, when there's just a huge influx of software developers within the market. It's just it's a very huge amount of diverse market. So it's not really, I didn't come with any particular solution. Whereas with markets, I came in with a solution of, I want to assist people to be able to find everything that they could
Yeah.
potentially need. Because, for instance, if you go look for a service, the main place is either to go through word of mouth or go to Google. Now, Google doesn't give you much information. They just would tell you that this is the business that offers such a service. And then from there, now you have to call the business, find out how much it is, when they're available, and all those things. Whereas you could just go onto markets and get all the information that you need, get the price, get the location of the business, get everything. So that I would have viewed that more as entrepreneurship because I would try to come in solving an issue.
Yeah.
So that's what I view entrepreneurship as, solving an issue.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. I actually fully agree with you on that. Um, yeah, you mentioned the thing of billionaires some moments ago. That I think that's actually where it all starts. Regardless of where the people are now, most of the time, what you notice is the person's just trying to solve a problem. So when you actually said uh, the thing about where all the excuse me billionaires started, and you spoke about that, what actually popped into my mind is something that you didn't mention because I was thinking, oh, you want to start like a billionaire? Oh, you want to start in a garage? Okay. Um, but no. Anyway, yes. Thank you so much for that. That is, I think, one of the most well-rounded definitions of an entrepreneur. Um, like you did mention, there is a difference between being an entrepreneur and being self-employed.
Mm,
There is a difference, and there's also a difference between being an entrepreneur and being a business owner.
mm, mm.
Um, so yeah, yeah, you are an entrepreneur. Hats off. Is there anything? Well, I mean, you've already mentioned Cheetah, of course. Um, But besides those three, Ngcoya Industries, Markets, and Cheetah, is there anything big announcement wise that we can expect in 2024? Because I know with a lot of people, they're expecting quite some things out of this year. Anything we ought to look forward to?
So this year, nothing really big. It's more of just the expansion of both Market and Cheetah Express,
Mm,
trying to get it to as much as all the corners of South Africa as possible.
mm,
What I can say though is 2025, 2026. What I'm planning on doing, and this was the initial idea from the start, is
mm.
with more industries. I wanted to change it from just being a software dev business into being an actual engineering firm.
Oh, nice.
So when I am done with my degree, I am planning on um, working on a project with a friend. We've already, discussed that, once we both finish, we're gonna jump on this project.
Mm.
And if you've watched the movie Big Hero 6, I think you would be excited for this.
I've seen the movie.
Yeah.
I've seen the
So
movie.
if you watch that movie, I think this would be something that you actually like.
Mm. No, man, I'm excited for that. Congratulations on that. I'm super excited. I can't wait for that, man. I'm more excited than I get for my own projects. Um, anyway, thank you so much, Tony Stark of South Africa. Real life, should I say, real life Tony Stark of South Africa. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. And of course, to the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. I do hope that you learned something today. If you did not, well, just play back the recording. Anyway, from myself, from everyone at the studio, this is not goodbye, of course. This is just the beginning. Thank you so much, everyone, and salute.